Good evening. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law with the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, notice is hereby given that the zoning board of appeals shall be physically closed, well, it's not physically closed to the public, but we are meeting via Zoom and live on tonight, Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. You can join the link, you can join us live, but welcome to the Wednesday, March 15, 2023, Town of Norfolk Zoning Appeals meeting. Tonight, we have a public hearing scheduled for 7:01, and the hour being 7:01. This is regarding 53 Leland Street, an application for a special permit to allow the alteration or enlargement of an existing non-conforming structure. I believe the applicant's in the room.
You want me to read in the...
And
Yeah.
before they address themselves, we'll open up
Right.
we'll read the application.
Notice hereby given in accordance with Chapter 48 of the Massachusetts General Laws and any and all amendments thereto, that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals in Room 124 at the Norfolk Municipal Building on Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 for the following application. Thomas J. Norton at 7 p.m. at 7:01 p.m. for special permit pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Section 9 as amended, and Section 310, 6.4 of the Norfolk zoning bylaws to allow the alteration or enlargement of an existing non-conforming structure. Property is located at 53 Leland Road, Assessors Map 4, Block 11, Lot 27, in the R2 zoning district.
Thank you. Just before we start, just a clerical for the record. The notice references the zoning bylaw section 310-6.4, and just for clarification, the application references the previous zoning bylaw section, which is F.4A, I believe, just so there's no confusion on the record. Okay? If you'd like to join us and identify yourself?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you can just turn it on.
Just step up there.
And the microphone's obviously for broadcast, it won't do anything within the room.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Thomas Norton, the applicant for this special permit. We have the owners of 53 Leland, Neil and Angie Dennett here tonight. We're applying for a special permit to construct a farmer's porch at 53 Leland Road, referencing the zoning bylaw, which I had F4A, but that's a 310-6 now.
310-, you just read it? 310-6.4.
310-6.4, okay.
Yes.
Some history of the home: it was an original cottage built in 1948, and a special permit was granted on February 13th of 2013 for construction of a new home on this site. The home is on a non-conforming lot in an R2 zoning district with a 10,300 square foot lot and a required 1 acre, 43,560 square foot lot. The front setback required is 50 feet, and the existing is 30.5. The side and rear setbacks meet the 25-foot criteria in a R2 zone. The proposed farmer's porch will project off the front of the home the same dimension as the existing covered porch, which is 4.33 feet, and the length of the farmer's porch will be 30 feet, spanning the entire front of the home. And the proposed farmer's porch will not decrease the current front or side setbacks, and it will not non-conform more than it presently does on the front setback, keeping the 30.5. As a reference, we applied for a building permit and were denied regarding the non-conforming structure, and that's why we're here tonight.
Great. And I think we have the benefit of seeing a photo.
Yes, that's the photo there, and I in your package, I gave her that
Okay.
had a plot plan and an elevation from the original home plan as well.
Great.
And there'll be 4 footings put in on either side of, 2 on each side of that. It's 12-inch sonotubes in very sandy soil conditions, which is very easy digging.
Great.
And we're really not doing any other landscaping.
It'll be nice. Thank you.
Okay?
I'm going to open it up to the board for any questions. And if you look at the bylaw, I think what we're looking at is if the alteration or enlargement of a non-conforming structure does not violate the setback coverage or height requirements, but does but does not violate those requirements to a greater extent. So I think that's what the applicant's showing us, that there's no further encroachments or zoning violations, and that's why they need the relief. Just to comment on this one, we, has nothing to do with your application, but I think we talked about this at our last meeting, or in recent meetings, that maybe we might pursue a change to the bylaw to not make, to grant waivers for these at the local,
Staff discretion.
at the permit application.
Thank you for coming. It's a lot of process for you.
Yeah, it's a lot to do. I don't know what the cost of the aggravation, but at least I'm of the opinion that for single-family homes, I'd rather just see an automatic waiver granted, that the building permit process, they could grant that automatically. But you're here, and that's what the bylaw is today, but I think we're going to pursue that bylaw change, so we're not there yet, but, so thank you for showing up, but I'll open it up to the board for any questions.
We could use a dimensional answer, though. Now, I know the existing setback is what, 30.5?
30.5, yep.
So the farmer's porch that's being proposed, this wouldn't go any further in exceeding that, or is it adding to?
No, it'll be like an extension off of that covered landing that's on the home now. So
Right.
only left and right it's added, it does not project off the home.
All right, so it's still within the
Yeah,
same 30.5?
no further out, just wider.
Okay, Yep, okay.
And that's the nature of this special permit allowance.
Yep.
If I came down and asked for an extra foot, then I need a variance.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to join the board?
I sat in those chairs.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
I think it'll look good.
Chris, do you have any questions?
I hope he heard us.
He did, but we can't hear him.
We can't hear you, though.
I'm gonna ask him to unmute.
If you unmute, we'll hear you so much better, Chris.
He's trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
He's away from home. He's
All right,
probably
no,
somewhere where
There you are.
There you are.
I was trying to use the unmute button underneath my face here, and apparently that doesn't work.
That would
No, I
be too
didn't have any
simple.
questions. I did read the information, so yeah,
Okay.
I'm on board with what the,
What part of the world are you in tonight?
I'm up in Vermont in the snow.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Elena, is there anybody else on Zoom?
Let's see.
Robert Shannon.
Robert Shannon?
Okay, if anybody on Zoom has any questions or comments?
To raise a hand?
Just raise your hand and we'll get you involved.
Oh, maybe
No
he's
one?
not here for this.
No one? Okay.
Okay.
Nobody else in the
We
audience?
should go through the criteria.
Well, we could do it now, we could do it after we
Oh,
do
okay, that's
deliberations.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine, because I see it's all filled in.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Do you want me to read the Appendix B?
No.
Well, I think we're good, we have it.
Yeah,
We got it all.
Yeah, we have it in
Jump
our
on the
packet.
application.
Thank
So I'll
you.
just entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a
It's a
motion.
formality.
So I'll
We'll
make,
probably deliberate this tonight and have a decision tonight. You don't have to stick around, but,
okay.
and if we get that done, I don't know when the decision would be filed, but, so you can get you going with your permit.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we close the hearing for 53 Leland Road for the application of a special permit for the alteration or enlargement of an existing non-conforming structure. Need a second?
Is there a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Have a good night.
No, this won't be for.
Okay.
No, we can use the floor.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have
Appointments.
some appointments. Owen Kelly, Boyd's Crossing, request for reduction of bond. I guess there's a request for Beta, or what we should do is probably grant Beta the opportunity to prepare a cost to complete. Is that what we're being asked?
Yeah, you're asked to have them go out, do a site walk, take a look at what's been
Do we
constructed.
need a formal vote for that?
I think it would be nice.
All right. So-
Required, but I like it.
Okay.
Need a motion?
This is just a formality, just to authorize Beta to go out and do the work.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
And
we
then
need-
they'll report back for the April meeting.
Okay,
Right.
on the bond request.
And I guess their evaluation let us know if we could even support the
Right.
reduction. Okay. We need a motion for that?
Please.
All right. So I make a motion that we engage Beta to give us a cost to complete estimate on the Boyd's Crossing request for a reduction of bond.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second it.
Great. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Ian, he has to approve that Beta goes out, does he not?
I already did.
He already did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure. We're not overstepping something.
Good question.
Good question.
Good question.
Any other questions, comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Does it need to be a roll call?
Yeah, probably.
We can
be
do a roll
better.
call vote.
Yeah, because Chris is on.
Tim Martin, aye.
Joe Sebastiano, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
And Chris?
Chris says aye.
Thank you.
3, 4. We need 5 or 4?
I think for this just for
Okay.
four.
I think you
Okay.
just need 4 for that.
Okay.
I think you only need me on
Well,
special permits when you're
yeah.
lacking someone.
Technically, that one was 3 because of the 40B,
Oh,
so,
okay.
but
Good point. All right.
Okay.
The same person has another request, right?
Yeah, we have a request from Owen Kelly again. This is regarding 194 Main Street, a request on the modification of the comprehensive permit to waive general bylaws, chapter 185, demolition of a historic building in its entirety.
Ooh.
Rich, do you want to give us a little bit of,
Any history on this?
on that one?
sure. So, as you know, 194 Main Street is commonly known as the Borks Plaza.
Yep.
Well, there is the house on the same property to the rear of the property, which was constructed in 1900,
Which makes it a historic building?
which makes a historical building. However, it doesn't have,
List.
huh?
It's not on the list, though,
Right.
is it? All right.
However, it doesn't have historical significance.
Yeah.
So it's not on the Historic Commission's list of historical homes. So, in discussions with the building department through Bob Bullock, he would not delay any demolition. He would not delay issuing a demolition permit on this anyway, but Owen said, why don't we just ask the request to waive it anyway?
All right. I mean, I don't remember in their plans, this building wasn't called out other than to possibly be removed.
Yeah, it was gonna be removed.
Yeah, I think it was
always gonna be removed.
Always going to be
Okay.
raised, and that's why we really didn't
Okay.
get into that
Yeah.
particular issue.
Matter of fact, the roadway in, back to the townhouse is
Going right through it.
going through.
Okay, right.
Okay, no,
Essentially, yeah.
because I don't, like I said, I don't remember that staying after the construction.
No, it wasn't staying.
Okay,
I
understood.
don't think it even really was discussed really in terms of historical significance, so I think it was really honestly just, didn't even think about adding it to the list of waivers at the time.
Yeah, the interesting part is that it was not, the chapter 185 was applied to this comprehensive permit?
So chapter 185 is the
Right.
new section of our general code,
Okay,
which before I think it was Article 15.
right, but this was applied for their special, for their comprehensive permit, right?
That is the new provision in
Right.
the demolition delay.
Okay, all right, well, if we just,
So you're saying, though, it wasn't in their original waiver request?
No,
because
it wasn't
didn't
in the
get
original.
flagged, So
No.
this is just belt and suspenders just in case, even though they're going to get the permit to issue, or to demo
Correct.
anyway?
Yeah.
All right, why not?
so what do we need to do?
So then if you're
We need
okay
to-
with make a motion to.
He's looking to have this added to his waiver list, so that would be, I think, along the lines of what the motion would be.
All right, I'll try this. I said, we'll make a motion, I make a motion that we approve the request modification of comprehensive permit for 194 Main Street to waive general bylaws 185, demolition of historic buildings in its entirety.
To the extent that it applies, right? Because it's not, we're not really, it doesn't really apply as it is because it's not, and I always put,
That's fine.
I always like that to the extent
That's
kind
why
of
you- that's
language,
why-
where I'm
well-
just like, we neither confirm nor deny that this applies, but in case that it doesn't.
Adding to my motion to the extent that it applies.
Is there a second?
Yeah. That's why we
I
need
make
you.
a second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Tim Martin, yes. Aye.
Joe Sebastiano, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Chris Metcalf, aye.
Thank you. On the agenda, we moving quickly here. We have town planner updates.
Great. That's the first one.
We can do the minutes if you like.
I'm so excited.
I didn't meant to
Oh, I
say,
have
it wasn't meant to be sarcastic.
Yeah,
No.
'cause mine's been inventoried twice on
Oh,
the
really?
national, for the state
No,
register.
so, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I didn't.
let's go into,
yeah, well, it's already been, I mean,
Yes.
that was done, the first listing was done at the bicentennial,
So I just
and
wanna-
then they did an update in the
into-
90s, and so, like, that was owners and owners ago that put it on, but it doesn't really do anything.
Does it restrict you from doing it?
No, not really. I mean, the local demo bylaw applies, but there's no other, it makes me eligible for certain funds if I want to do a lot of, like, gymnastics and
Really?
open my house to the public periodically. That's what it does for me.
Gotcha.
And I could put a preservation restriction on it that could potentially give some tax breaks. You could do that, too.
I already get tax breaks.
Yeah, you already have the farm. I don't know that
Public
you need
party
the-
I
at
don't think
Courtney's
I'll-
house.
Yeah,
Well, honestly, the farm excludes the house. so
Yeah, 'cause
land.
it's
So I could
exempted
probably
from
get-
it, and
I
then
could
you
get
can put a
probably
separate-
a separate on the house.
and that comes in the form
If you
on your
wanna-
state taxes. You can take, it does some
I'll
fun
talk
stuff.
through what the zoning is, and then,
Sure.
and we need to, I can share what's going on. So we finally worked through, we had multiple revisions, reiterations to the zoning bylaw changes related to the schedule of use regulations, so as you remember, I probably talked about it for several months now, to take and create one schedule of use table. So the goal was that to take the C1, the B1, the C4, C6, and put it all into the schedule of use regulations. So what I have supplied to you on the listserv is the final form that's being advertised for March 27th for the zoning bylaw changes. So what we did is progressive steps. The first one was to put everything together in, so the B1, C1, C4, so forth into the schedule, and then bring all the uses over exactly as they were in the other subsections, which then, by merging them all together, we saw where there was,
Overlaps.
overlaps, but also restaurant takeout this way and that way. Might have had an S, might have not have an S in plural, so that was all merged into one. And then that's, I'll call it Article 1. And along with that, we took, and the changes would be to the subsections where the superseded the schedule. Now we took that out. That's part of Article 1. And then also in Article 1, we got rid of the C2 district, which doesn't exist, and the C5 district. I shouldn't memorize everything. That could be dangerous. Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm gonna scroll down. And we got rid of if you remember, in the existing recodification, so that's a whole nother thing we'll kind of talk about. So this is the recodification. This is everything. This is the zoning bylaws plus the general bylaws plus the subdivision rules and regulations of the planning board. We don't have this nice little book anymore, so you have to go to general code online. We only have one of these, so we kind of need to think about it as we're kind of, all of us, actually, myself included,
Right.
we're using all new different sections, so I'm not sure how that's gonna, to be determined, I guess.
So there won't be any books published, is what you're telling me.
No, there won't be any books published. I mean, the good thing is it's all searchable and easy online, but,
Also black and white and cheap to print.
so we'll have to kind of work through that in terms of how we want to approach it, but I'll just scroll down. So anyway, bear with me a second. So I scroll down.
So this has been a big, long process and a lot of detail. Do you anticipate, after things are favorable at the town meeting, that this would continue on, or would there be let's digest what we have? I mean, because there was a lot of work that went into this.
So I think we're very optimistic. We've arrived to the point where By the way, I was at the advisory board last Wednesday evening to talk about this with them.
Courtney was there.
Courtney was there a little bit early for the ZBA meeting. But from that meeting, what I have on the shared drive for you as well is handouts. So what we did was we put together a handout which you can follow along, so it's not in the warrant. And within the handout, we broke it down by subsection. So where you have residential uses, where things were changed, and it says, okay, this use went there, or this was changed, kind of as a guide, so people will know what's going on in terms of uses, or if how it was redefined. So I'm thinking with that document, it will help.
So you're billing this as like cleanup and modernization for the
Yeah.
uses? People
So-
love those words, cleanup, modernization.
So the first one, if we walked away and we got the first one, that'd be a huge step forward, because then we take one table. It would look kind of clunky because you see these uses kind of overlap and so forth. Article 2 is where we merge definitions. So we got one restaurant now, one fast food restaurant and one takeout restaurant, not, reversing it back and forth. Similarly with like retail sales, in our bylaw, we've got hard goods sales, soft goods sales, this kind of sales. So now we just have retail sales. Similarly with retail services. So that's where a lot of the discussion was, more so in terms of the advisory board last week, which may be where the discussion might fall more in terms of town meeting. But so hopefully those handouts, which will display at town meeting, but have them, we're going to post them on the website as well, so people can look at it ahead of time. That hopefully there's a comfort that we're really moving things around and merging. We're not making wholesale changes to uses, and so in that regard. Of course, some people might debate that, whatever, but
The intent is not to make changes.
not to make changes. And like solar, instead of being in the residential, it's going to be under transportation and utility uses, that kind of stuff. So, and
Place for
then
it.
that's the second one. And then the last one is kind of the easy lift, I would say, is that we're going to then fill out the chart with no's and SPZB. So,
Good.
it'll designate special permit zoning board. There are a few special permits to the planning board, which are already embedded into it, but to fill the chart out. And that's going to be a handout, so if you vote for all this is the final product. We kind of went back and forth, like filling the chart out, put it on a warrant. It was getting kind of a lot of things going on there. So that's where we settled on. So that's what the planning board's going to be discussing on the 27th.
Would that resolve the issue when we were doing the solar field, where the planning board needed to approve and we needed to approve?
So we haven't addressed that. So
Okay.
that's kind of, that's the next step.
That's next step,
Yeah.
okay.
I think this is really just, like Courtney said, this is really cleaning up the book.
Okay.
It's not making any
just making-
substantive changes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to do digging and through the bylaws, because you'll be like deep into one section in its table and you'll be like, what is the difference between this restaurant and another? And then you look in the subsections definition and it's like, oh, this one has a drive-through. And it's just like, is that really what? And so it's like it's not even that there's inconsistencies necessarily. It's just that every time there is a new section added, they just shellacked on top of it. And so you just end up with, shades of the same thing.
Gotcha.
I know in the past when we've discussed any applications that involved retail here, we had the things where like they put the gas station in on 1A that had a drive-through around it. That was important to discuss that because people would be concerned necessarily if there's a drive-through, a certain type of car activity is going on. I know with retail, they also came up with, I've seen it, questions about, and maybe it's in there, Rich, that there are certain retails that aren't allowed in certain zones, that type of thing. I imagine that's kind of still.
So that all carries forward. So if it was, if it was not allowed in the district, then it
Right.
remained not allowed with a couple exceptions. I'll call exceptions, which is like childcare facility. We changed that to comply with state law.
Can't limit that.
Public education is another one, it can
Can't
go
limit.
anywhere. So we've cleaned those up, but in terms of that, if it wasn't allowed, it remained not allowed. If it was special permit, it remained special permit, so we didn't swap out and change that around. The drive-through is still a separate special permit use, so
Okay.
so that remained as well.
I'm just recalling days that.
Yeah, no,
things that
I agree.
come our way.
I agree. I think The best one I love probably is retail sales, because it's,
There's,
we don't need to get into it, but I mean, if you go
there's so
through.
little that is just, you
Yeah.
know, and that, because retail sales, most manufacturing has a component of retail sales on site, like a bakery, for example. Like, it just becomes so nebulous so fast. Retail sales is a cute. I like the hard goods and soft goods. Who's telling the difference between that anymore? What happens if you sell both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-and-so's bread's always stale, too.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like it's sales and services. It's,
Right.
and they're all the same thing, and nobody really cares because they all function similarly.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely,
it would
but-
be like if Novato's was selling their special sauce or something like that. That's retail sales versus retail sales,
Right,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, they were selling
but in
t-shirts.
reality, they should, yeah, or T-shirts or whatever.
Breweries always
Yeah.
come up as the thing that gets flagged because
Right.
they do retail sales, but they're technically a manufacturing use, but you want them in retail areas and stuff.
Which one's that?
Breweries.
Oh, okay.
Most of them are farm breweries.
Yeah, or
And so they
and there's
are
a reason
considered
they're
a
all
farm.
there's a reason they're all in industrial districts because they're manufacturing use. But in most industrial districts, you don't want to bring in retail consumers because then they compete for the land, and it's just not how we do industrial parks. But it becomes its own thing,
Yep.
and I'm just like, they're businesses. Let them, you know, as long as they're not really hurting anybody, just let them. Let it be. Let's take
So
those
hope-
tax dollars.
So I think we're feeling hopefully pretty confident that we're, with the handouts. I think the handouts are the key, because the advisory, rightfully so, is like, well, wait a minute, did you change this around? And so I think hopefully that as a guide, because I know the ones that came up that night was solar, for example. I don't see solar in residential anymore. And we're like, yes, because it's in.
Statute.
It's in, but we put it in utility use and across the board. So, again, so I think that'll help, because it's not like, we didn't get rid of it.
Things
We just-
didn't disappear, they've just moved and been reorganized.
right,
Yeah, I can
you know.
definitely think of like your 2 minutes and your billing of what you're putting in there.
If your
Town meeting.
presentation is important to kind of relate to the handouts,
Yes.
maybe you have people, whoever volunteers are within the group, just make sure they hand out the handouts, meaning make sure if people didn't take one, maybe as that, maybe as the meeting starts, make sure they are enticed to take one.
Dude, the gauntlet, dude, I haven't been to town meeting here, is there like the gauntlet that you go through to
Yeah,
get
it is, there is a
handouts?
plate, but it's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
table, you
Yeah,
can
we got the
totally
table.
avoid, you
Yep.
can totally avoid.
Is it really political to get your stuff on the table, or is
I'm
Norfolk
aware
cool
of,
about
no,
it?
just pick it.
No, it's just,
Been in some communities where like getting something on the table
No,
is
I
like.
didn't
No.
see
as
anything.
long as there's space.
Yeah, it's mostly, no, it's, you're free to
Pretty much, as long as there's space,
Yeah.
and if it's on the agenda. If
grab
it's not on the
usually.
agenda, then.
Yeah.
But she's saying to put your hand out there, do you need how do you get your hand out?
The moderators and stuff, if it like, just,
It wasn't inside the room, it was outside the room?
yeah.
Oh, that type of?
No, Carol through the clerk's office handles all that. As long as we give her, say, hey, we got a bunch of handouts, so she knows how many
Yeah,
teams.
I just want to make
you know
sure
that.
people pick it up in some way.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe someone
sure.
just remind them as they go in, you may want to pick up
Yeah.
these handouts.
Yeah.
Because they don't stop you from picking anything up usually.
No, they'll be important.
The planning board's the sponsor on this, right?
Yeah,
And so they'll be doing the presentation
so
or,
the planning board is doing the presentation, yep. So
Great.
they're working on their
the PowerPoint.
yeah, PowerPoint.
So we're doing some
got
zoning in the
slides and little
spring.
dancing
Yeah, I'm just
That-
like, you need
Once
the
the
slide
zoning
deck
in the
to go
spring.
with the handout.
Yeah, no, that was kind of a little
Bonus
bit of
points if
discussion
you're out
last.
to
Fine with me, I
matches.
think it's great.
That's what you
Yeah.
get when you hire me.
Yeah, if you get,
There's,
if you can get a little karaoke involved, you're doing good.
It's kinda
With
nice to
ball,
not-
that'd be good.
just to have flexibility.
Oh, I
you know?
agree.
Yeah,
Do it when it's ready. If it's ready in the spring, do it.
Yeah, I know, but there was discussion like, oh, we're doing zoning in the spring, we really should do it in the fall, blah, blah, blah. It's
Yeah.
like,
There's no prohibition
when it's
against.
ready.
That's what
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. So that's where it
Don't let
landed.
any, get the marker in the ground and go. Don't wait for someone to sneeze and move left and right. Get it done.
Besides, doing it during budget season sometimes has its advantages.
That's right.
If people
Yeah.
want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
And the sign bylaw is changing
Oh,
in terms
good.
of some changes. So we have,
Are they going to allow everybody to have a sign?
well,
That'll be the debate,
Well,
right?
the last time that it came up, it
That'll
was
be a
like the
debate.
town
well, no, your
could
point's
change the
taken.
sign.
So here's the thing. Yes, so
The
internal
the town could change their signs, but nobody else
No,
could.
no,
Right, well, that was the point.
Point's taken, yeah. So this version of the sign bylaw changes, internal illumination is for both public and private. So it's, However,
I'm getting a sign for the farm now.
however, I will say the however is that, but it is through special permit, so we're doing the crawl, walk, run kind of approach to this. So, the planning board will be handling the
It's your
special.
application fee, right?
I'm getting the big screen. No,
Big street?
You might be exempt anyway.
no, I don't think for a lit sign, I don't think I'm exempt for that. I'm
try
exempt
that
for a
case.
lot of stuff. I should just do it.
Your lit
FYI,
sign ends up being one very tasteful gooseneck lamp.
Yeah, right.
but we're not allowed internally illuminated in the residential district, so.
But we don't conform to, as a farm, we're not conforming to the residential areas. In reality, as a farm, we can be in any one, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
But
the-
you
the
are
zoning
zoned
of-
residential, so you're illuminated, you're still gonna be KO'd from the illuminated sign, because he's saying in residential districts, there's no illumination allowed, which is normal.
No, I think Mike and I are gonna put up some illuminated signs.
I think spotlights, get the revolving
gun and-
ones.
Internally illuminated.
Yeah, it will be all internally illuminated. It'll be like an LED screen.
Are you gonna do like the main thing and just like go buy somebody else's sign and prop it up against the barn and turn it on?
So
We
anyway.
don't want to hear about zoning violations tonight.
That would be
Yeah.
that would be
But
a
anyways.
shell sign or something.
Yeah, that would be what I refer
So like
to.
blinking every few minutes with a different
Yeah,
message, right?
because the bulb's out. No.
Like, we'd be like,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
eggs,
Let's continue.
This is how you get people crashing
Go ahead,
into your
Rich.
house.
So that's a big add to the sign bylaw with changes. The second one is projecting sign or blade signs, you want to look at it, but that'll come, they can hang off the building to identify different business, which isn't allowed now. And then the other one is to allow sandwich board signs, which we don't currently allow. So those are all signs that from the planning board meeting with the Norfolk Small Business Association, is like those type of signs, internal illumination would certainly help. The blade sign, and sandwich boards was a
They're
popular
gonna
one.
do licensing for sandwich boards that are on public sidewalks with the selectmen.
We're not doing licensing.
I go several ways on this just because I care about accessibility and people
However-
who are in wheelchairs, and I'm just like, I like a little bit of licensing on it on a public sidewalk because it's hinky. It's using public space for your advertising.
But I will tell you though, within there, you have to have clear space, so.
So as long, like honestly, as long as we
There
have
are
big
some business,
sidewalks.
there are some businesses that could use the extra view of
Yes.
their business.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
some of the signs that they have their names on are so small and like buried in the mix. Yet,
To
you
your
know,
point though, within the sandwich section of the bylaw, there are, those provisions are in there, so for example.
Yeah, because most of the time, people can fit them on their own property and it's not a big deal, but once they get on the public sidewalk, it becomes our problem.
One thing about the small businesses up on, was it the River's Edge? I mean,
So you have to maintain 48 inches minimum clear on the sidewalk,
Yeah,
so.
for
right.
your radius.
It's almost like they didn't have some on the sidewalk, we wouldn't even know they're
You
in there.
wouldn't know that they're
Right,
there,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ands. You wouldn't know it was there
Right,
unless.
yeah, well, listen, that's a concern.
Well, that Ann's was at several of these meetings about,
Good.
you know, that, to be able to have that kind of signage, so. So those are the,
Great sandwiches, by the way.
you know, the ads for the sign bylaw changes for the spring.
Well, the first person who had Ann's was having trouble even letting people know she was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she tried to posted a posted sign, and they made her take it down, so it was a little rough.
It's kind of a tough spot.
This is a tough spot.
Yeah, but,
Well, hopefully the sign,
but they can handle traffic, it's just
Yeah.
you need to know they're
Right,
there.
That-
Traffic
yeah.
in the parking. so
yeah,
Hopefully this will help, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that organization is active, the business
they
association.
are, yep,
It's wonderful.
they have been. So anyway, so that's what's coming up for
Good.
Cool.
the Maytown meeting. What's next on the list there? Let's see.
Housing choice?
Oh, housing choice.
Ooh.
So good timing in terms of your meeting. I did, and actually Lane printed out an advisory from the Attorney General's office regarding housing choice. So housing choice is the high density, 15 units or more, half-mile radius of commuter rail stations for MBTA communities. And there's a little more to it, but for us, it's the commuter rail. There was, in January, this past this past January, each MBTA community has submitted an action plan, which basically says how you're going to go about comply with the zoning bylaw and what time frame you're going to do it. So for us, we have to be compliant by December 31st of 2024.
Does that just mean a bylaw?
A bylaw change, yep.
You can't guarantee people are gonna build anything.
Yeah, so it's just,
Because
that's it.
you're not going to be
Yep.
able to build it anyway unless you
No, you
tear
just-
things down.
You just have to zone for it. You have to allow for it in terms of like other zoning bylaws. There were, I believe it was like 5 communities said, no, we're not submitting an action plan. We're not,
There's 7.
is there 7? Is there
7,
being
I believe.
7?
Yep.
So they put up the stop sign, and so, which then stirred the pot, and that's what generated the advisory from the AG's office that the housing choice is not an
It's not a choice.
option.
It's not an option.
It's not a choice.
Because some communities had taken the position that, well, all right, we won't apply for those grants, and so, hey, that's all right, you can keep your money. So I think they made it pretty clear in terms of this advisory, so take a look at it. It's not a choice, optional. So needless to say, that's important guidance as we go forward. But so Horsley and Witten will be working with us to come up with some optional district options for creating the zoning for housing choice, which we'll probably get into that probably around May-ish, somewhere around April, May.
Would have loved it if they gave us sewer pipes before they gave us a mandate to build housing without sewer pipes.
Right.
And said, you gotta do this to get sewer pipes. This is not my favorite piece of legislation. I'm ride really hard on fair housing. I love fair housing, but there's so many layers to discrimination and how you do it, and so much of it is not actual, like, yes, there's discrimination involved, but also part of it is just people's individual preferences, and that isn't really rooted in discrimination. But because every town is kind of rooted in so many ways to resist change, like in most communities, if you want to extend a sewer line, that's a town meeting vote. If you want to connect to it, that's a town meeting vote. That's if you even have a sewer line. And so it's just like there are so many barriers before you even get to the zoning that haven't been addressed. And there are so many deficiencies with the infrastructure throughout the suburbs that has not been addressed in any meaningful way in 30 to 40 years, that it's just like, I believe that every town that is on a commuter rail station needs to be building a higher density around that station and not squander it. I've worked in a lot of communities that specifically squander it. And, they'll have parking on the station, but then they'll restrict it so people out of town can't use their town to use the station. It's just like regional resource guys. Like, I've seen a lot of crap that is total crap. Like, what they're addressing is correct. It's just that I feel like the barriers to build housing just in, like, that aren't systemic but are just what's in the ground are
Right,
huge.
realistically, you can't build this, so we can have a bylaw, we can have a zoning change.
Yeah, we could
That's
do
great, but
it.
until we get the infrastructure, it's all moot.
We
Yeah,
could
but-
do it, but we can't do it responsibly. And you can still jerry-rig like a septic system like a package system that will take a fair amount, but you're still going to eventually end up with a Cape Cod situation where you're nitro-loaded all your soils because you did it too many times. And granted, their soils are sand, and that is a bigger issue, but it's just like there's a break point with how much shit you can put in the ground. It's a real thing, especially when you draw your water from the same ground, which we do. We're not on the Quabbin or anything, and it's just like that issue to me is so much of a bigger issue because I spend way more time with developers. I think that because I'm kind of sensitive to them, and I know that I'm not supposed to be as a planner, but it's just like there are real issues, and if you want fair housing and if you want housing opportunity, you have to also give a little bit here and provide a way that is not just regulatory. There's not enough money. There is no money in affordable
Water and
housing.
sewers is a driving thing. It's what drives it.
And as each town is grappling with like PFAS and other major issues, because once that's in your water, like you got to deal with it. Those are really expensive upgrades, and there's no money for that. they're talking about state legislation. Now I'm just going to ramble for a minute, but it's just like state
me a minute.
legislation for public safety buildings that start doing it like the MSBA does for the school buildings and do it in funding rounds, because our fire station is not the only, they're not the only people living in substandard conditions. There's some very, very funky police and fire stations, and you don't even get to like when somebody gets arrested, and if, again, riding on accessibility, we don't even have like accessible ways to get people who are disabled into these facilities. It just sucks. The whole thing is just like there's big issues, not enough money, and this is one of those things that is just like, yes, we need to do this. Yes, we do need to be smarter with our land. We only have so much of it. But for Christ's sakes, man, you gave us all $1,500 back last year. Would you give us a freaking sewer?
Right.
Without having to compete with Chelsea and Everett. Like, because that's why all the towns are like, yeah, we'll sit out this money. We never get it anyway. Because you go through, you spend $200,000 designing it, and and then you get to a town meeting vote and it gets blocked anyway. And so
Well, hopefully it won't get blocked, so we don't want to get disqualified from grant money. So if that's what it takes to get grant money right now, we'll...
Norfolk, I think, is Norfolk is a lot more easygoing than a lot of communities. Though there's a lot of pearl clutching going on with this, because people do think that if you put it on the books, like everything will be
It'll be
built out
built
to the
next day,
max,
right,
and and there are a lot of people who hate the state and don't want to. There's different characters to different communities.
Sure.
Some of them have a chip on their shoulder. The state's making us do stuff, so we're not going to do it. And then you got like the folks who are just like, we can't figure out how to do this. And then you got the folks who are like, well, we should probably do this and just it'll be all right. Who are more level-headed. And then you have the more hyper communities, and it just kind of goes up from there. But I think that there's 5 kinds basically, and they just vary by hyperness.
Okay, thank you. Moving along. Thank you.
It's a nice job. It's very nice. Thank you.
No,
That's my rant on MBTA communities. So
Time well
Rich
spent.
doesn't have to do it, but yeah, we got to definitely do that.
Well
district. People are gonna hate it.
Oh, no, well, they already are.
They
I
already
mean,
hate it so much. I do not envy you taking that one to town meeting. It is gonna suck.
Yeah.
no.
Hopefully,
I'm
though,
gonna be in New Hampshire
Norfolk
that
though
night.
seems to
What's
be a
that?
little
I'm gonna be
bit
in New
more
Hampshire
about
that
like
night.
understanding like this is the process.
Oh, we're not,
of how you
we're
play
not,
ball.
we're not doing anything yet with this in terms of town meeting, so.
Oh, okay.
Don't have to do anything really until.
No.
No, you just
Until
had to do the action
2024.
plan and
Yeah.
tell them what you were going to do,
Right.
which is why we're all side-eyeing the 7 who sat out, where it's just like, just lie to them while you figure it out. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Why create a problem now?
exactly. Don't do it now. But these aren't necessarily the smartest of our communities. No offense to the 7, but like, usually you get together with your lawyers. You get your, you put the war room
Throwing the
together.
line way too early.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, they did. So definitely kind of ratchet up the
Yeah.
advisory coming out. a
They're
lot.
creating
Yeah.
a fight that's not there.
Yeah.
All right, Southwood Hospital.
There is a PIP meeting tomorrow night. I think you probably got an email blast if you want to
Yeah, I
attend,
saw that.
6
I
PM.
read that. Yep.
There's not much. So in terms of, on the planning side of things, MAPC is working on the development scenarios, and we'll have,
Pictures.
we're not ready to have a public powwow to go over the results as of yet, but probably, I don't know, probably May, something like that timeframe. We'll have to figure it out, but.
Okay.
So it seemed like of the several hundred pages, like the main sentence that needed to be in there was that this is safe for people to work at. Is that kind of the overall assessment? Do they know if it's safe, what else it's safe for? Or, because what I really hoped was just in their final memo, when they, the cover memo of
Yeah.
like, these are, because there's like, 6 or 7 things that blew a little too high, but they didn't really tell you how concerned you needed to be. Because I'm the sort of person that just really wants like a red dot or a green dot. Like, is this bad and is this at the level for commercial use or for residential use? And
There's 100 parts per million. Okay, so
I
what does that
We'll
mean?
have that.
well, they didn't have like the comparison. I'm sure it's in there, like the comparative table of like how big of a
Yeah.
problem it is. But it's like lead and then a couple of like plastics, and it seemed like not so bad. And they did the trash pit, not where the building is, and I'm like, oh, probably.
So do you think
fine.
maybe we'll have that
Yeah, we're gonna, so,
that Courtney likes
So-
and say residential?
Oh, no,
No, engineers will never do that.
they'll never give you that.
No, they will not get to the point.
Okay.
Nope, that never will.
no, in terms of what I'm saying in May timeframe, it'd be just going through the different scenarios. So the idea of the scenarios were, if we allow this zoning wise, is there gonna be enough financial ability in that development scenario to clean the site up and make it viable to work. So they're going through different
Oh, okay.
options from use standpoint, and to take a look, and within that analysis, they're put in 10 million right now in terms of, you know, removal, demolition of the building, remediation of the building, and cleanup of the site. And as they go through that, hopefully they get better, you know, numbers to kind of get a better idea. But right now, the analysis is based on $10 million to clean up the property. But we're gonna go through that. And we did have the workshop, I'm trying to think when it was, but, you know, in terms of community preference wise, you know, there was, age restricted was one of the ones, if I recall, that, you know, like, I think it's pretty popular, you know, people like that option, but,
Yeah.
you know, high-density housing was not something that was,
Nothing at 15 units an acre that we could just plunk us down for?
It's out of the realm of the MBTA, though. It's too far away.
well, no, there's a catch to that, though, so.
Because we already built out everything by the station.
But I was also thinking the Foxborough station might be close enough.
Yeah, but the catch to that is, we can have 20 acres of the 50 that we have can be outside. So as we get to that, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Interesting.
with housing choice, but, so anyway, I think we'll probably
But that
land
might be
in.
close enough to the Foxborough by the stadium.
It could, so when I say Tim may, it might move. It's not like there's a clock ticking, it's our
Sure,
clock,
sure.
you know, because they're still
Yep.
heavily involved in the evaluation.
What if a bus ever came down 1A going towards the shopping plaza? Because they have a bus in 1A, and
They do, yeah, so the,
And
so
that was- you
GATRA,
can get to the Walpole station on a bus.
yeah, so GATRA operates, almost like an on-demand service
Right.
in Norfolk that you can.
Right, but I'm wondering, there's a regular service that
He's
hits
thinking of a
Walpole,
regular
I
T
think.
service, I believe.
I think there's a regular service that ends in Walpole.
A fixed line.
Yes.
Fixed line, I believe it's-
Gatra.
I used to go to East Walpole, then went to the center.
Yeah, I always see it parked by the gazebo.
So,
I'm just wondering.
well, wait, that's a different one, so.
What is that
The
one?
gazebo one is the.
That one never moves. I don't know. That one's always there every time I go by.
There
If
may
there's
not be a
regular
lot of
service
them
for
here.
going to Walpole, I always wondered why it wasn't considered to be extended down to the shopping plaza.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me, because a lot of bus lines were developed to go to back and forth between
Sure.
malls and other things, you know?
I don't know enough about
Right,
extend.
but
I know
if you
which
had an
one-
MBTA, if you had a bus MBTA line going through, would that be close to, you know, for this?
Well, it'd have to be an MBTA bus, and we've got
Right.
GATRA buses, so I'm not sure that it will count.
Well, I'm just saying, the buses that are already hitting Walpole, are they just Gantra? Or
No.
They have
no, that's
MBTA buses.
They do.
that's what it's getting at?
MBTA.
Yeah.
The idea of, you know, extending that line, if it made sense to the state, I guess, or to MBTA.
Well, Courtney kind of hit the thing on the head with this whole stuff. It's all money thing because you know,
No,
they,
we shouldn't, I'm just wondering if the,
so we can have,
right. They
We can have
extend
the
train lines
district-
down the coast because it's important, you know, to.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so can we extend bus lines there, you know, and there is a destination for that bus line to keep going.
they could.
Yeah, thinking of the mall, just.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that it was a lot cheaper for us to be served by GATRA than MBTA, and there's
sure.
a reason why we
Sure.
wiggled into
But
that.
But the town is changing a little bit, you
Yeah.
have population, and if you start throwing some density along 1A, it's a different story.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's all, just, you know, I'm not part of the big plan, but, you know, just, you
You're
know.
part of the big plan. You're all part
Well,
of the
I
big
mean,
plan.
but in terms of like, you know, I'm sure I threw this out years ago anyway.
Well, you're gonna get a bite of the apple. Don't forget, because we got next one. It's a good segue. Master plan.
Master plan.
Right.
Master plan.
So I,
The lights to get fixed. I am so frustrated, the
That's,
lights.
that's
you know.
not master plan, that's minor plan.
Yeah, but they're not doing it.
Which
lights aren't-
lights?
Many street lights are
Right.
out, some for over a year. Then the storm came through and even knocks them off the poles and they're still on the ground.
I wish I could help Joe. And it's just
Right.
We need three
Another
one.
department.
We just.
Let's move on to master plan.
The
It's not
reason
only
I
zoning- the
joined
lights aren't
this
zoning
zoning board is because I want the old town hall to be demolished.
Yeah.
We need 311 so you can just go with your app and like pinpoint it. Like
call
the
it out.
light is here.
I've called, they don't even fix it. If you call up I've called the.
You're on the list.
You're on the list, that's right.
What I'm saying, but I've gone through DBW and he says, no, he takes my list, he submits it, and he says, once in a while, they fix it.
There you
But
go.
it's just like, we're paying for them. Why aren't we getting them fixed? It's like, I think they should have a team that goes through these towns and figure out which lights are off before all this time. It's a safety thing.
I
It is.
will admit I have had the thought in the town center about how we have like 3 billion lamps and how that was not maybe the most efficient way to
Right,
do
the town
it.
has talked
But they
about
look nice.
Right,
But
but
then
the
I'm like,
town's-
who's maintaining them?
But they started
Call,
turning
because
some
I-
off.
according to
I think
Joe,
we've called
nobody.
and They fixed the lights.
Right, but they've alternated them though. You'll see some lines, they have every other one off.
Oh.
I've seen that happen at different hours. I don't know how good it's working, but I've seen that, where they've controlled, like, okay,
Yeah.
certain hours, we just go every other
You
one.
contact Eversource about that?
Yeah,
one?
directly, but, they have.
I mean, I'm not saying they're
They
not.
don't give you a phone number, you can't talk to somebody, no people. You go online, it starts with, are you an Eversource customer? You start with that. And then you gotta pinpoint the pole, they'll go to you, what number's on the pole? And you go over there and you read these numbers off the pole, right? But you're doing the work for them. Your light's been out.
And then well, I think if you're calling Eversource, you also are probably
They don't,
shouting in the
no, they don't
voice.
speak to you, that's what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Yeah.
Unless you happen to have an inside knowledge of who you can talk to. But there's no team that you call and dial and say, I need to report a lamp out,
Yeah.
I bet Owen Kelly has an Eversource guy. We should ask.
Well, I'm trying to find out if there's a better way to do it, because it is so fun. I mean, I've given the full survey of like at least 20 lights more than once,
Let's
and some of them
move
come
on to
back, don't
master
get me wrong,
plan.
some have come back, but others, you sit there saying, why is the light on? I'll give this one, Union and King Street going to the school. That's been out for a year and a half.
Joe, let's let him
Why
move
is it
on
out?
with master plan.
No, but,
It's not really a zoning
I'm
issue.
looking at it this way too. I mean, all the other towns surrounding us have LED now.
That's true. We don't?
It's already done. It was done, it seems like Franklin, Walpole,
Sharon.
Millis, they've all done it overnight.
Yeah, Sharon,
Overnight, all the lights
Sharon
touching.
did it in like a day and a half. All
Yeah,
of
so
a
they must
sudden,
have took
boom.
on some sort of program.
It's Green Communities money.
Could be.
Right, but there must have been something that got them to get the whole thing just swiped through. See, everyone you have a light on now, we'll put the LED up. And I can tell you that we never got to the point, because I was around when we tried, I was on a safety committee a long time ago. We added at least 30 or 40 lights to town over time. But again, very rigid, mostly intersections, bad curves in the road if you're traveling, and dead ends.
Call DPW local,
I have.
and then see, no, but see if they can connect you.
Yeah, no, I'll try again. I mean, they're very
I'm
nice,
not
though. Don't get me
dismissing you.
wrong.
I just want him to go on to master plan, that's all.
Yeah, but DPW, all
Go
the
ahead,
guys.
go ahead, Rich, I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm not-
Listen, I would tell you this.
I'm just saying, we're paying for something we're not getting, and some of it's for a
Yeah.
very long time. It's very frustrating.
I think
And the police agree.
I don't
mean,
disagree
the
with
cops
you.
have agreed that they reported too, and they said, yeah.
They still want the old town hall demolishing. Come on, guys.
Right there. Come on, Chris, let's get it.
All right, so
let's get her done.
Good segue to master plan.
That's why the new fire station should be, guys.
TLC, torch
So I
level
want you,
here.
so in April, we will, I'll just say 25th, I don't have a confirmation yet, but just kind of pencil it in on your calendar. There'll be a public meeting, workshop meeting for the master plan at the Freeman Kennedy. Pretty confident I got that, I just gotta confirm, and then we'll start sending the flyers out, but
Yeah. But if I start my,
you gotta come.
if I do my light speech, is it gonna?
Yeah, there's a whole chapter on transportation utilities just for
I get pushed
you.
under the pole a lot when I talk about this stuff.
You go what?
I've been pushed down before when I talk about the lights and stuff like that.
I don't,
No, I've actually done, I've gone through the same thing you've gone. I'm not dismissing it, I just wanted him to have an opportunity.
I know, but I think it should be a real, I mean, I'm actually mad at Eversource now. Why aren't you, going through the town once in a while and taking a look? Someone's got to go out, because it's even the DPW, we don't work at night.
Because they're too busy fighting off the lawsuits for raising their rates.
Right, but bottom line, no, but yes, the DPW has
Yeah,
been very
text
courteous when I call them and
messages
talk about
storms.
it. But, they admit they've submitted the lights and that they
Yeah.
don't get fixed that way, so it's unfortunate. So,
that was enough for the master plan, so it's kicked
Okay.
off, we're on good, and
Kick off in April.
25th?
We'll receive notice and we're all welcome
Yeah.
to attend.
Just the general, this is a master plan and this is what we're gonna do? Are we gonna have some fun games involved or?
we'll have some games,
Oh,
some party
boy.
games.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Drinking games.
There's
I don't
never,
drink.
there's never alcohol even though everybody would have way more fun.
Deliberations.
it's all about coffee and
We have
donuts,
the
maybe.
50
It's usually food.
All right.
Sorry.
We have that's all right. We have deliberations on the agenda. We have the hearing, the agenda item that we heard tonight, 53 Leland Road. And I think Rich did us a favor here, and he drafted proposed decision.
Okay.
If you want to take a moment to review that.
I think that's all good. I did. I read it all before.
Yeah, I have to admit, let me see.
I'm yes to grant. It already says that.
Yeah.
I'll have to update the
I'm good with
decision
it.
for, to take Josephine off, but other than that, it looks good.
Yeah, it looked good. I
Take her
read
off.
through it.
Okay,
Yeah, she didn't vote on this, did she?
Yeah, she didn't vote on this. She wasn't
Yeah.
here.
Okay, can you fix
that's
that?
tonight's.
Okay.
That's just-
Yeah, well, actually, see, have Elaine,
No, but did Elaine vote on this? Oh, no, she won't be here to vote on, I'm sorry.
That's right.
I'm out the window for a moment, sorry.
we'll have Elaine take,
Take that off and then it can be signed.
and put you on, and then,
And then whenever Chris comes back, he can.
I'll be back. I'm back on Friday.
Oh, see,
Okay.
these people's
Town hall
porch
will
is
be
coming.
closed on Friday, so maybe if this is
Here, Rich.
approved
well,
this evening.
we're gonna run with the
Look at
4
that.
signatures.
Okay.
That's
But
the
that's
largest head of
technically only
Chris I think
4.
we've ever needed to see.
If you wanna come in, we can
He's
have
like
it.
140 scale.
Courtney's on there.
Will you fill in this part of it with the criteria,
Yeah.
right?
Are you
I
skiing,
look at what
Chris?
they submit.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah,
anything that we
good.
may have?
Did
First
you get
time I
good snow or wet snow?
Today was dry snow.
Oh, nice.
This happens to be.
Downhill or cross country?
Down.
Yeah,
The only thing I think
I like it better with gravity too. I try to keep an open mind about cross country, but that is just.
Substantive, I didn't think.
Gravity still affects
No,
you
I'm
on
still
the
not
cross
this.
country.
Yeah, but you know,
With the help,
it is
you're just down.
hard.
And very well.
I watch cross
And that's
country in the
what-
Olympics, and I'm just
No,
like,
these statements are
you
not
people need to find
Yeah.
a new fun thing to do because that one's not fun.
Well, at least the one with the rifle on the back.
That one does look fun. The
like
biathlon.
Yes, that one's.
That one does look fun. I would not be good at that. 'Cause
I can ski and shoot squirrels. It's all good.
Can you imagine like trying
Oh, I
to
didn't
shoot
say
a
that in
target
open forum,
while
but-
you're like huffing and puffing because the cross country skis don't help?
All right, has everybody has everybody had an
did.
opportunity to read?
Yeah, otherwise it's fine.
Do we have a motion?
I will agree, I mean, but I think,
Yeah. Okay, but it's just a matter of something I've always looked at a lot, just because when I was penning these. Let's make a motion here, 1 second.
Sure.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the special permit for 53 Leland Road to the extension or alteration to a non-conforming structure, but the application will not extend the non-conformity any further.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, hearing none, roll call vote, Tim Martin, yes to grant?
Joe Sebastiano, yes to grant.
David Axberg, yes to grant.
Chris Metcalf, yes to grant.
Thank you.
Do you have to?
Are we signing this copy?
Nope.
Probably not.
Which copy are we
Four of
signing?
you.
Four.
I don't know, which one do we want to sign? We could probably sign that one.
I guess so. Blue
think
pen.
she-
Make sure.
I think
Oh, she's gonna update.
She's updating.
She's gonna change
yeah, we would like you to vote.
Oh, Courtney Starling, aye. There we
That
go.
way we can have 4
to
signatures
grant.
on, and then,
Oh, and then we don't have to worry
And then
about
we don't
Chris.
have to worry
And then
about-
you don't have to come in and sign, Chris.
Oh, I'm going to stay skiing then.
There you go.
We got
Don't
you
come
this-
home on Friday.
you were really gonna come home and sign that, huh? What a guy, that was
I'll
nice.
be home for the
She's gonna clean
weekend.
it up, we'll sign it before we leave tonight.
Just say yes to grant.
He's got
Courtney.
to feed the cats.
She
again.
did.
Oh, shit. okay.
Yes, to grant. Yeah, I did.
And then we had the,
I got to see what my neighbors have been doing. Come on.
Oh, there you go.
going back on the Owen Kelly.
Yeah,
the
modification.
Yes. So if you want to have a motion,
Okay.
well, you can read it off the agenda. right?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll do it, yeah. So I'll make a motion that we approve the waiver request, the 194 Main Street request modification of comprehensive permits to waive general bylaws, chapter 185, demolition of historic buildings in its entirety, as so far as it applies.
Right. Is there a second?
Good addition. He learned.
Yeah, I'm learning. A little slow, but I learned.
You did.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Tim Martin? Aye.
Joe Sebastiano, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Chris Metcalf, aye.
No, they can, we'll just have,
Leave this up to sign.
we'll just leave it there.
So what do you want me, which ones do you want us to sign? We just need to.
Well, she's going to clean this one up, and we can sign that one.
Got it. Yes, so
And then we have, before we get to the signatures, we'll go.
blue pen.
Yep.
And we have to sign the waiver, too. We're ready to sign the
Yeah.
waiver.
You want me to, is it okay?
But we're doing that if we want to do the minute meetings,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. No,
January 18th.
Right, I'm gonna sign this, right? Okay.
I didn't take Josephine off the,
Yeah, she's off of this now, yeah.
She cleaned it up.
She's
That's
off
the-
that
that's the
special
decision.
permit.
Yeah,
That
but
one's
this-
the
yeah, right.
comprehensive permit.
But you don't need her
We
here?
don't need her on.
We don't need her.
Oh,
But you're
okay,
okay
okay.
not leave her on there even though she doesn't sign?
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
you
Thank
don't
you.
want to forget about her.
No, I know. Good. Thanks.
Right. Sign it with a
While
blue,
we're signing,
blue pen, though.
yep,
All right.
you can, if you want to do the minutes.
I need a blue pen, though. You have more blue pens over there?
I have one.
Okay. Did we get 2 pens? I got
Oh.
one blue pen. Okay, good. Got it. I think we're all right. Try and use blue.
This is a banger of a memo from Andrea Campbell's office.
These are the sign
I
minutes.
like her. She used
Sign
to be my
minutes.
city councilor, met her a few times.
We have to do, no, we have to vote on those.
That's a memo.
That's the sign, oh, did we vote on the minutes?
We want to vote on the
Oh,
minutes.
bring the minutes back, bring them back.
Jump that.
I didn't jump ahead. Someone told me to sign something.
Do you want to do a motion while? for
Yeah,
that?
yes. I make,
a
I'm
motion.
assuming everybody read the minutes from
I
the
did.
January 18th meeting of 2023. So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 18th, 2023.
I second that.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Tim Martin, aye.
Joe Sebastiano, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Chris Metcalf, aye.
Okay.
Another beautiful set of minutes. Thank
you
you.
Was.
Yeah, we love
I'll
you.
make them shorter, I promise.
No, you know, as much fun as doing the minutes are, they're
Yeah, the only thing I'd
necessary
say is
part.
maybe
Thank
you
Hard
can
you.
work.
break them up a little bit in terms of like a reading. I like doing like bullets.
Yeah, very extensive.
Yes, no doubt about it, yes.
I think they're good minutes.
And while we're going through the signatures here, Rich, under new and old business, do you want to walk us through anything there?
Yeah, so town meeting is falling on your normal meeting night for May. No. So I would,
May 17th, yeah.
yeah,
A week after would probably
be okay?
better for you guys, I imagine.
Because you're getting ready for town meeting?
Yeah, that's a slog. Week before town meeting is painful.
You want to go? You want to
Yeah,
go
after would be better, because the plan, yeah, so the 24th would be
the
better.
24th?
Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
All right.
Do we have to vote that?
Yeah, because you did vote the schedule in the beginning.
Okay.
Well, in
All
December.
right, yep.
Would you like to make a motion that we move the May meeting?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we move the, I make a motion that we move the May,
Day meeting.
May zoning board meeting to May 24th because of the
At 7
conflict.
o'clock.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock because of conflict with the town meeting.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Tim Martin, aye.
Joe Sebastiano, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Chris Metcalf,
Aye.
Thank you.
aye.
All right.
I can make that one.
Here we go. This is slime blue.
This is
Now I get back
standard
from the
practice
Philippines
in
the week
Norfolk
before.
where- with zoning for other boards to write in support who aren't necessarily part of the process. Like if the ZBA wanted to
Thank you,
just
Joe.
say, we
Yeah, no problem.
support this, and it, you know,
Certainly could if you wanted to.
All right, so then we have
never hurts to do things nicely.
membership.
Oh, yeah.
June 30th, looks like my term is due to expire on June 30th. I'll let folks know my intention. My intention is to try to remain on the board and seek approval from the select board to stay on the board. That'd be my intention. And I think Courtney,
I plan
you don't have to
to,
announce tonight, but if you want to, that's whatever your thoughts are. so we
they
can
plan to reappoint me, I'll keep coming to these meetings.
Wonderful. On a side note, if anybody wants to step up and be chair, I'm certainly not going to oppose that. In fact, I'd probably encourage it, but you can think about it, and, we'll see if the select board appoints me again to be on the ZBA, anyway, and if
Gonna be
anybody...
running a hell of a campaign
and
this
if
spring, I
anybody-
bet.
the budget's low, but if anybody wants to be chair,
You get paid twice what you got paid last time.
that's right. So don't be shy, step up, and
You get no pay twice, come on.
that's right.
That's right.
Oh, we get paid in thank yous and respect.
All right.
And,
Periodic
Maybe,
litigation.
if anybody you thinks wants to be an alternate,
right.
because I'm not alternate, associate.
Right.
We do have a,
We have the one opening. Do we advertise that at all?
yeah.
Yeah. No one's been.
Crickets.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But, we will,
I have a question.
Oh,
Do we
we'll
have any-
totally rope someone new in the master plan process.
That would be nice,
Potentially.
right?
That's a good
Yeah.
idea, yeah.
Activity will be picking up, you have the master plan, you have town meeting coming up, there'll be a lot of
Yeah.
community involvement. Somebody who's
They're going to
active
put
on
out
interest.
a call for volunteers again, so.
Great,
but
this is the time of year, it's
Just
springtime. and-
FYI, you know.
Yeah, we don't even have anything controversial, like it's an axe grinder that,
So,
this is a good time to
open
recruit.
position now?
For associate.
For associate, okay.
Yeah, for associate. Yep.
Okay.
That's another one. That was also.
And then if you,
Okay. I think that takes us right through the agenda. So,
What's happening with the fire station? Anything? Any update on that?
we're going to get the permits in line to,
Just curious.
yeah, good question.
hopefully start April 15th.
Okay.
Not just tax day.
So they're gonna break ground, actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. That'll be exciting.
Yeah. Who got the site work, do you know?
I do not, actually.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I saw what's his name's thing over there all the time, but I don't think he got it.
No, he has his, no. I don't
parks
think
over
he did. He
there.
just he does do a lot.
He does
He's
do a
now
lot
for-
of, yeah.
For DPW?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why you see
Yeah.
Kadesh over there.
Yeah, Kadesh.
Yeah. I don't,
I heard Blue Diamond might have gotten it out of Foxborough,
oh, okay. I'm not.
but I don't know that. My
But,
son used to be their mechanic.
I have a question. Do we have new bids on that for the construction, or are they going ahead with the price we've seen?
I think it
Does
was
it-
the price.
The price you saw, they actually had it all bid out, ready to go for town meeting.
Right.
So when you voted at town meeting, special town meeting,
That was crowded. That was, place was.
yeah,
Yeah.
they had all the numbers, so
Yeah, it
it's,
was one of the biggest town meeting turnouts, and I missed it.
It was probably, it was hard to get into the room.
Rich, I have another question for you probably, or someone can answer this. I've had a number of my residents in River's Edge ask me why they did not get the email about the new school building that has only been told about to the people who've got kids in school. Can anybody explain why that's happening?
There's a new.
And why
school
not
building?
everybody in the town getting that email?
oh, in terms of the meeting next week, you mean, that meeting?
Yeah, apparently there's an email that went out to
Oh, it's on
every
the fire
parent
station,
for the
so
school
it
kids.
One
You
of
know
the
what,
top.
I do
And
not.
my residents are really uptight because they don't have any kids in
school
school. So they're never going to know about it until we
Oh,
get to the town meeting when we're going to have to vote on the
fine.
funding for
It's not
it.
that old.
School's coming up, is
The
it?
middle school.
So
is fine.
they're,
there's just-
right now, they're,
town meeting
they're,
recently.
yeah, no.
The
No,
middle
they're
school's
they're
like
just doing
newer
the
than
feasibility at the moment, but,
Okay.
so they're not,
Well, as you know, I'm in the River's Edge group, and there's a lot of people there who are over 55 and are getting very concerned about the fact that they're on fixed incomes and they have no control of the town's efforts here to, with these
Well, they'll have the
buildings.
opportunity to be at town meeting whenever that is. I mean, it sounds like.
Yeah, a lot of them went to the last town meeting
Right.
for the fire station.
Oh, yeah, that was discussed,
Yep.
how it affects
So
the seniors.
they'll have their opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah, they're just concerned that they're not getting in the loop because they're not parents of school children.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in an over 55 community and don't have children in the school system and didn't get informed either, so.
No, I didn't
Yeah,
either, so.
that's
So
what I
they're
mean.
You're not isolated.
So you're not
I didn't
isolated.
receive anything either.
Must be in a very early
When it's a
stage,
town
feasibility
improvement
study.
like this, I think everybody should be told about it.
I didn't even know
I'm
it
not the group that
existed.
organized, I don't know.
Yeah, who's paying for
Okay.
feasibility study?
All
That's the
right.
question.
Sorry to bring that up,
town-
but
Question, no, I
I've
don't
had a
know.
number of people ask me
Right,
that
but is the
question, and
town
I don't
paying
know
for a
the answer.
Feasibility study.
yes.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
call the
Oh,
administrator's office, I don't know.
That might be interesting.
That's right.
Yeah, I unfortunately, I don't have not involved with it, nor have a good answer to
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Okay, that's okay.
Sounds like a good one to refer to the regional school district.
oh, no, this is in Norfolk. No,
this is Norfolk.
This one.
Well, yeah, I know, but isn't it, I mean,
Which
it's the
school
school
are they
buildings,
talking
isn't it
about?
part of?
This is for the elementary. So the Freeman Kennedy, they're doing
It's
a
the Freeman
feasibility
Kennedy,
study for an addition to the Freeman Kennedy.
Oh, they're out of space? Are they really
makes
out of
sense.
space, or are they out of space per reg?
So you would have to go
Depends on who you ask, okay. The
take,
children,
I don't have,
Before we get too far off, why don't we close the hearing? Can I have a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion, we close the ZBA hearing for March 15th at 8:10 PM.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further
I'm ready
discussion?
for cold beer.
Roll call vote?
I want to thank all those who are in attendance. Bob Shannon, thanks for coming.
Okay. Roll call vote. Tim Martin, aye.
Joe Sebastiano, aye.
Courtney
David
Sterling,
Eckler
sorry.
guy.
Courtney Sterling guy. I was camping, I was just like, oh, he's still here. I don't know who Bob
did you wanna
Shannon is,
vote?
but he's still
Close the
here.
hearing?
Still here, yes.
Chris, did you want to vote to close the hearing?
Yeah, I actually did. I think I spoke over someone. Chris Metcalf, aye.
I heard the
Okay.
top of the can.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Enjoy the
guys.
snow.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, enjoy.
Bye, Chris.
Aye.
Oh, no.